Happy Saturday. I'm Undrai Fizer. Welcome to Interglobal today. Hey, I appreciate you. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. I'm having one. I'm at home. I'm in peace. I'm at my office. I'm chilling and everything. And I have an urge to eat a couple of hot dogs. I haven't had a hot dog in a couple of years. And I want a hot dog so bad I don't know what to do with myself. I want two hot dogs. I want with relish, cheese, the chili, all the stuff, mustard and all of that. I want that so bad, and a cold Pepsi or Coca-Cola or root beer. I want a couple of hot dogs so bad. I don't know. So that's how my Saturday is going. Hope you're going well too. Hope you've been praying. Hope you've been meditating and living, and hope you've been excited about life. Hey, I want to share something from my book, How to Love Yourself Back to Power. You can get this book anywhere books are sold or downloaded. Barnes and Noble, Amazon, Walmart, Target. You can get these books. How to Love Yourself Back to Power. The soul that's begging for attention is like a mischievous child. But there was something interesting in here that I want to read. I was on a session with a strategist a few minutes ago, and I brought out some insights from this here book. And I said, well, I want to share it. So I'm going to do it. It's on page 83. Have you determined your healer? And I know I talk about identity a lot because that's not a subject matter, that's a reality. I talk about discovering your purpose a lot. Those of you who know me know that I have talked about discovering purpose a lot. That's not a subject, that's a reality. But without being fully healed, without recovering and establishing content from a spirit that's become whole, you'll never really discover your purpose. You may discover a performance, you may discover a skill, you may be talented, but talent without healing, ministry without wholeness is not purpose. Write that down. Write that down. Talent without wholeness is not purpose. Ministry without wholeness is not purpose. You're just creating a cycle again of your pain. So it's imperative for us to recognize where we are healed. I'm not talking about healed from a scab or healed in my kidneys, or emotionally where we have restored and recovered the value of who we are, of what we lost. And I'm going to read that. Have you determined your healer? As we are healed, we speak. As we are healed, we talk. We cannot help but to flow from the love that has healed our mysteries and our secrets, that has brought wholeness to where we have doubted within ourselves and our self-confidence and who we are and mentally. And a lot of us can rhetorically speak of a Christ and rhetorically speak of God without having an experience. And I'm not talking about a wow experience of angel hair and gold dust. I'm talking about where the mysteries and the questions of your life have been eradicated. Have you recognized the source that rescued you from shame? Many of us are taking precautionary steps and carefully weighing our life options, yes, but have you determined the source of force behind your wholeness? My vision and my purpose awakened when Undrai was healed of himself. Not just traumas that someone else did to me, but what I did to others, but the trauma of what I did to myself, the trauma of what I did not allow to happen for me, the trauma of what I didn't allow to touch me, the trauma of what I didn't allow to shift me. Because I wrote something earlier, it's hard to impart into anyone who holds themselves back. When you come up to receive while holding yourself back from what it will bring you into, you cannot overwhelm a person's prison or wheel of self-sabotage. When you self-sabotage and keep yourself from surrendering to the light, you cannot lead others to the light. I can't lead people to a God that I have yet to surrender myself to. Am I making sense to you? It says, is there a power that is resurgent within you, that is innately revealing a healing within you? Or is time taking over, enabling you to merely tolerate what you perceive that you will never have? Now, this is the one that got me, and I wrote it. We will boldly and with confidence serve as ministers of our own reconciliation. When something of great value has been restored to us, the degree of the value of the restoration will determine uh, the degree of the value of the restoration will serve as the power from which we proclaim. In other words, the strength of the comeback will determine the strength of the command. The strength and the value of what was given back to you will be seen in your capacity to minister or reach. When I say minister, I'm not talking about pulpit. I mean your ability to proclaim and testify and be a witness. The value of the restoration will determine the impact of the witness you give. Am I making sense? A silent witness means that was a silent restoration. A bold, commanding witness, not on the street saying, I'm witnessing for Jesus. No, your expression will be to the degree of the reconciliation you have been given. Your restoration will determine the discipline and the responsibility and the stewardship that you exude. The healing power, the totality of the healing. We will boldly and with confidence serve as ministers of our own reconciliation. According to the freedom you have received, that will determine the command you give. And a lot of times we want to try to learn great command without reconciliation. We're trying to learn how to be more powerful than the actual experience. And no one can teach you to act more powerful than the impact of your heart. According to the impact on our lives, that determines the degree of ministry. That determines the degree of influence. The level of your influence is determined by the level of the impact on your heart. Write that down, please. We may talk some about this this coming Tuesday, but I don't know. But I'm speaking from my book right now. Listen to me. If you want to check the measure, not of your fasting, not of your prayer, not of your reading, but the impact of the restoration experience. The restoration experience, the impact of the find, the impact of the discovery determines the impact of the delivery and the command and the power. And sometimes we see people who have great command and we want their command, but you don't want what impacted them to get that command. Am I making sense? I know I'm making sense because it's got me. We will boldly and with confidence serve as ministers of our own reconciliation. When something of great value has been restored to us, the degree of the value of the restoration will serve as the power from which we proclaim. The strength of our influence is determined by the strength of the value. It's not determined by the strength of you fasting and praying and watching YouTube and I watch this one. No, the degree of your comeback determines the power of your come up. Oh Lord Jesus, I feel like a preacher. The degree of your comeback determines your come up. If you don't have a powerful come up, it's not that I can't say it like you. It's not a matter of saying it like me. Speak it like you're healing. Speak your truth like you're healing. You can't speak it like another person, but you can I only speak like my healing. I can't speak like nobody else. I speak according to the degree I've been healed. My wife speaks according to the degree of what she's been healed in her mind. You can only speak to the degree of your healing. Mary, Crystal, Jason, and others, you can only speak to the degree of what you've been healed from. You can't speak from the degree of your potential. You can't speak to the degree of what you want to speak. I want to speak. No. If you hold back from the impact, You won't have any input. See, a lot of us want to be put out there because we want our talents to show. But I'm going to tell you something. You cannot discover purpose until you recognize the impact on your heart. Without being healed, I'm not talking about if a cut and they lied on me. No, without being healed from what you've done to yourself. Without being healed from what you didn't allow to be done to you. When you are healed from you, you will speak that way. Because a lot of us have great gifts, but no impact. And so we're steadily wounded and we're steadily tossed to and fro because people are taking advantage of our gifts. But when you understand the impact on your own heart, no one will ever be able to take advantage of you. People may try to whore or prostitute your talent, but can nobody prostitute your impact? Can no one prostitute the impact that caused the degree to come? People can only take a little bit of what you produce, but they can't take the impact on your heart. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is in How to Love Yourself Back to Power. The greater the fulfillment, the more powerful the voice and the confidence. You can't ask God to give you confidence without impact. Confidence is a result of an impact. I saw that you had the confidence and I want that. But were you impacted by the value of the kingdom the way it impacted me? Because you are only as strong as the impact on your heart. You can't mimic an impact that's not there, because you'll get up and try to speak from an impact without being impacted, and people can look straight through it. You understand? Oh, yeah. We speak from the degree of how we've been restored. We speak to the degree of our restoration. We speak to the degree, Andrea, of our restoration. We don't speak to the degree of who we mimic. Because I mimic, listen, if I'm a mimic anybody, I'm a mimic my healing. Write that down. If I'm going to imitate anybody, I'm going to imitate my healing. How many of you are imitating your healing? Write that down, please. I'm imitating the degree of my healing. I'm not imitating another man or another woman of God. I'm imitating my healing. My healing has called me to the ministry. My healing has called me to the business. My healing has called me to the power. Because without healing, I have no assignment. My assignment is not where I'm wounded, but where I'm healed. My assignment is not where I'm cut, but where I'm healed. My assignment is not where someone dogged me out. Now I got to have a ministry based on being dogged out. No, my ministry is based on what made me whole, not made me say I'm whole, but what impacted my heart, because my impact is greater than your offense. See, when the impact on my life has been embraced, your offense and your messing around with me won't bother me. You can't really offend an impacted heart. You can't really offend a heart that's been impacted with power. You can only offend someone already offended. Healing has called me. I'm going to read this again. We will boldly and with confidence serve as ministers of our own reconciliation. When something of great value has been restored to us, the degree of the value of the restoration will serve as the power from which we reclaim. I speak as powerful as my reconciliation. I don't speak as powerful as my gift. I don't speak as powerful as my honesty. I don't speak as powerful as my habits or my hobby. I speak as powerful as my reconciliation. And without reconciliation, I can't discover purpose. I can't discover purpose without reconciliation. And I'm not talking about I'm saved, reconciled from sin. No, reconciled from me, for what I'm keeping myself from. What am I holding myself back from? What am I holding myself? I'm constantly being poured in and holding myself back. I cannot discover purpose holding myself back, dumbing myself on purpose because of the fear of the responsibility, hiding from the expectation, hiding from the expectation. I remember when I was a little kid living at home and my brothers and sisters were at home. And everybody was cleaning up on Saturdays. Right now, they would have Soul Train on. And my sister Shirley would be dancing the Soul Train. and washing the dishes and mopping. My brother Wallace would be outside cutting the yard. And before you know it, I'm hiding. And my mother would say, "Oh, you trying to hide so nobody could tell you to do work?" I was getting out of the way because I didn't want to be pointed out to go and do something. So if I'm out of sight, I'm out of mind. Some of us stay out of sight. We only show up when it's time. Because if I'm out of sight, you can't pick me to do something. See, that's not purpose when you're so out of sight. I don't want to be picked to be put into a responsible situation. You can't discover purpose hiding from yourself. You can't discover purpose unhealed. A lot of us are trying to find purpose and we're not reconciled. We're trying to find purpose and you haven't discovered the impact that's causing you to talk. You understand what I'm saying? The purpose is in the impact. If you want to know your purpose, look at the impact of what was given back to you. If you want to know your destiny, look at the impact that was given back to you without recognizing the impact. I'm not talking about a temporary testimony. I'm not talking about going back when God healed you 8 years ago, because that didn't impact you to be consistent enough. When you are healed, consistency is birthed. When you are whole, consistency, not testimony, consistency is birthed. The word of your testimony is not giving honor to God. Testimony is a consistent reality from an impact. Testimony is the witness your life gives, not the testimony you give at church. A testimony is the witness that your life consistently reveals as a result of getting your life back. The greater the fulfillment, the more powerful the voice and the confidence. We are as confident as the healing of our minds. We are as confident as the healing of our minds. Confidence is not found in skill. It is the manifestation of one's recognition of personal value. Confidence is not found in skill. It is the manifestation of one's recognition of personal value. We are as confident as our own knowingness. As we know, we flow. As we know, we are the daily expression of what has healed us. We cannot stop speaking of it. Sometimes you can look on my page and you see that logo and me talking. I can't stop talking. I'm not trying to get your money. I can't stop speaking of it. I'm not trying to get likes. I can't stop speaking. Listen, we are the daily expression of what has healed us. We cannot stop speaking of it. Our creativity is more than a hobby or side hustle. It is the healing balm of our wholeness. The continual vibe of authenticity is the fulfilling truth of the healing of our limited self-perspective. Many of us have careers and financial security that compensate for the lack of truly knowing who we are. If we could afford not to know, many will take it. If we could afford not to know who we are, we'll stick with that. Because I could afford not to know me. I make enough money not to afford to know who I am. I make enough money to afford not knowing who I am. But can you truly not afford to not know who you are? Is that truly an affordability to not know who you are? See, the resources are here. How to love yourself back to power. Let me get this in the screen here. How to love yourself back to power. How to love yourself back to power. It's not just talking. We may speak the right rhetoric, but it will not calm our nerves. We will find ourselves reassuring ourselves that we are not afraid, but deep down we are afraid. We're constantly trying to reassure ourselves. But when you're healed, you don't have to reassure yourself of anything. The impact on our heart determines the influence of our ministry. The impact of the restoration determines the influence on whatever we do. The impact of our restoration determines the influence on our work. Without an influential impact on my heart, I just find myself jealous of someone else's confidence. I find myself envious of someone else's freedom, but I'm afraid of the impact that affected them. Are you afraid of the impact that's affected some of the most powerful men and women that you know? And they're not powerful because they're perfect. They're powerful because they recognize the impact that was given back to them. They're not powerful because they fasted a long time. Power comes from an impact and not a fast. Power comes from recognizing the impact of what was given back to you and not reading your Bible a lot. The impact, you may become more astute in the scripture, but in influence and in presence. The impact on your heart determines the impact of your presence. The impact that you recognize that was given back to you determines what people feel when you walk in the room. They don't walk in the room because you're big and strong. People feel the energy of what you restored, what was given back to you. When you walk in a room and sit down, people feel what was given back to you. Do you feel what was given back to you? If you don't know what was given to you, and you don't have to say, let me see what was given to me. If you got to think about it, you were not impacted with it. If you got to think about it, it didn't do anything for you. Let me see. Sometimes it can happen and you can overlook it. No. You can't overlook an impact. Write that down. I cannot overlook an impact. The impact of a thing on me determines the influence that I live from. You're trying everything, but it's hard to maintain a life that hasn't been impacted. It's hard to sustain it consistently. But when you've been impacted and you recognize it, it's not hard to maintain it. Because the life that was given back to you determines the life you flow from. Am I making sense? Yeah. You need to get that book. And if you have it, you need to read it again. Maybe you just read it. Maybe that was the problem. You read it without an impact. Man, we have so many visionary resources available, but when your heart hasn't been impacted by vision, it's hard to partake of the resources, especially when your heart hasn't been impacted by something. You're reading it with your eyes and not with the influence. Does that make sense? Yeah. God is providing the answers to unimpacted lives. And when answers are given to an unimpacted life, we will drop the answer. We will casually handle it because we're more impacted with our issues than the wisdom and the purpose. We're more impacted in the flesh and in our humanity and in our pain than we are with wisdom. And you can't make yourself be impacted with anything the heart isn't involved in. Whatever is not of value will not serve as an impact to you. To some of us, pain is more valuable than wisdom. Do you see what I'm saying? To some of us, our struggles are more impacting than our solutions, because what we value the most impacts us the most. Am I making sense? Hey, I just wanted to read some of this to you. I'm not going to take your whole Saturday, but I thought this was exciting and I thought it was necessary. So you check out this video again. I'm going to get off of here. And man, I'm going to see if I can set myself up to get a hot dog. I'm not supposed to. But Lord, I'm going to see. If I can. You follow what I'm saying? Hey, if you hadn't registered, you need to register for Keys to Exploring, Keys to Practice and Purpose. It's a 3-month institute that we have starting June 7th, Tuesday. It's going to go to August the 2nd. Every Tuesday from 7 to 8:15 or 8:30, you're going to be receiving insights. And those of you who are registered, you need to write a goal or vision plan that you're going to apply these insights to. Because if you're listening without anything to apply them to, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. You are going to lose it. You can't hear without having nothing to build. Most of us have been in the presence of God and have lost God because we didn't have nothing to build from the God we was listening to. We were just listening. But you need something to build. Am I making sense? Once again, healing determines your assignment. Healing. The impact on our life is not a result of you working hard. The impact is going to work for you. You don't have to work hard for an impact or an influence. The impact is going to work hard for you. I'm Undrai Fizer. Hey, if you want to sow into this Saturday Integral today, invest. Or listen, before you invest, I'm going to ask you the question, are you returnable? If I sow into you, what would I get back? How do you know you're good ground? If I sow into you, I'm going to get 100-fold of what? If anyone sows into your life, they're going to get a fold of what in return? Become returnable ground. Don't just say sow into me. Because if I'm sowing into something that has a rotten core, I'm not sowing. That's not a sowing. That's a deficit. That's a loss. If I'm going to sow into you, I'm getting 100-fold, 30-fold, 60-fold of what? Are you what I'm going to get in return? Am I making sense? So if I say you can sow here, you are seeing what's going to be returnable to you. You know what ground this is. Because if I sow into you, I'm not donating to you because I'm trying to support you. I'm sowing into your ground. And whatever's in your core is what I'm going to get back in the tree. If you like my tree and you sow into me, that's the tree. If you enthuse in it, if you till it, you're going to get what I have grown. But if I sow into desolation, I don't receive nothing. 100-fold of that. You understand? So before you sow into anybody or ask others to sow into you, see how returnable you are. What do you give folds back in? Am I making sense? I'm Undrai Fizer. Peace.